Welcome to Van Halen, and this is a brief hello and a brief update on the very, very slow progress that's going on. This was supposed to be the van that I concentrated on, trying to improve my health after a couple of strokes. And you wouldn't believe it that this van had its interior ripped out in 2021, I think the summer of 21, and you can see that it's been used a lot, and it hasn't really progressed. We have done some things and not done a lot of other things. So I've stripped out the old cloth interior, and then I started falling in love with the idea of spraying all the metal, inspired by my wife's old, well, I call it old, but it's the new Beetle style, where they had a lot of bare metal. So that bare metal edge next to the door card, I thought I wanted to recreate that. So I started stripping out the carpet. And then I've, encountered all this glue, which takes a lot of rubbing to get off. I haven't been using power tools. I've just been using those pads there, and then spraying it with a Hammerite and the white. I didn't go for the LD90. I went for this modern appliance spray because I could buy it anywhere. So I kind of like the bright, and I went for a floorboard, which again got ripped out before it got fully fitted. But anyway, I've been starting to sand and spray stuff. The floor was a bare patch of metal with some rust. It looked like somebody had done an interior, so I've started rubbing and spraying that. But really speaking, I've got to take the dashboard out, because the blower unit has seized. I think that needs replacing. But anyway, last night I started rubbing the top of there just to see what it would spray like, and I put a bit too much spray on, but I'm kind of pleased with the way it will look. But I think ultimately I need to strip out the whole of this interior, everything, and get it back to bare metal, so I could spray the front of the van whilst I'm doing the blower unit, and then put it all back in. And somebody online said, oh, you might as well do the washer, the spray wash on the windscreen at the same time. And I've got a bit of a rust leak somewhere on the left hand side there that pulls down into the passenger side. So it really wants a full resto, which is making me think I should buy a welding unit. I should buy a MIG and do some work. I'm not going to take the lid off because I don't want to uncover the can of worms that will no doubt be in the corners of the high top. I think that's beyond me, but I do want to upgrade this. I want some kind of fan unit put into there. This is the Skylight, which is still covered in lots of dead bugs because we went to Scotland during COVID 2020, and the midges literally held us hostage. So I did have this sound dampening, which is just old carpet underneath the original thing. I don't know whether I can get that somehow bonded. There's a couple of tears in it, which, yeah, there's one there. That's by the accelerator pedal. I mean, if I could glue that, I'd rescue that. But I fancy replacing all this wood that is original conversion. This was converted by Leisure Drive, and I really want to upgrade all the electrics. The electrics were next to the cooker. The cooker unit was there, and that got destroyed whilst the floor was being fixed. I want to check this because this is missing a little strengthening bracket, and I'm not sure whether they're supposed to have two of those across there, but there's a lot of tidying up to be done. this corner here doesn't fit the rubbers very well, so I think I might do a little bit of welding on that to increase the metal to fit that a bit tighter, because that popped out once. I was carrying a sofa and the window popped out the side, so that all wants sorting. But anyway, had this van since about 2013. We used it continuously up to COVID, and then COVID was the last time we've done a real big trip. We've been to St. Ives many times when the kids were small enough to sleep up the top, but it hasn't had much use since. So I really should get this done in the next 6 months so it can get back on the road, because it should have had an MOT last December, and I didn't put it on the road. I've just parked it, and then the accelerator cable needs renewing, and the conduit, that when I got underneath the van, the conduit was very brittle, so I've bought those to be replaced. It's had a new stainless exhaust on it, but it does need probably trailing arms, and it does need, I think, I've never done the bushes, so the bushes could do with doing. I'd like to do some sound dampening, because that was working well. It was making the van a lot quieter to drive, so I want to take the door cards off and see if I can figure out some way of having like a rubber membrane, as well as the polythene to stop the sound and the moisture. I took the glove box out, and I kind of like the space there, so I'm thinking I might fabricate some kind of design that slims down the front of it and perhaps has more speakers. So speakers in the door here. I had one over this corner down there, and I fancy having some more speakers. Upgrade the sound system, but still have cassette and CD. I'm definitely a retro fan. Still got my cassettes from the Tommy Vance rock show on a Friday night. Somebody was talking about Def Leppard and the Rock Brigade, and I think, God, I recorded that on Tommy Vance. Yeah, I kind of like this original pattern on the seat, so I think I'm going to keep that, though I am tempted to say the seats are starting to tear and fray. There's a bit of a pull there, so I'm tempted to say I might upgrade all that, but that could be the last thing to be done after all the mechanical stuff and just the cleaning up. I'm not into having a show vehicle by any means. You can tell I've lived like this for what, 13 years with this van. I just want a van that you don't mind going in and you don't feel like you're living in a complete slum, though I am not in a financial position to really spend loads of money on it. If I did, I'd be going out and buying a T6, T7, I guess. But I do like fiddling with this. I used to be a technology teacher, and I had a couple of strokes, so I've just stopped doing anything. So if I can just fiddle with this without spending too much cash, it's kind of fulfilling a purpose. But I do need to weld the bottom of the doors. That door bottom end was gone. The rear door was gone. You can have a look at that. And I got some little patches here and there. I think the leak at the front could be from this. I think this was bodged up when I first bought it, and it's probably leaking there. But I am just rattle canning it. So I'm going to tidy up this area, sort out the accelerator. That's somebody's obviously had a cigarette and burnt a hole in there. So that is why that needs doing. That's starting to fray there, which is a shame really, because kind of like the original pattern, the original colours. But I think this is going to look good. I fancy some kind of padded leather up there with some lights maybe. But all this needs cleaning up. I took the rubber off the other day and started cleaning off this overspray. It was coming off, so I think the rubber might be worth rescuing, though I don't think it's mega expensive. Not the tyres want replacing, they're perished. This one's tidy enough. I think people have had filler and all sorts of crap down there. The trailing arm is definitely looking worse for wear, so I think trailing arms is on the list of jobs to do. But anyway, this bottom edge. Oh. He says I can't even get this to open. There it is. Yeah, so there is the major rust, just that patch there. Though I can see a bit of a trail of rust along that seam. But I reckon I can just patch this one. I think I need to buy a piece for the side sliding door. And these won't tidying up. That was the first bit of spray I tested. And for a rattle can, I was very, very happy with that. So I just need to do the rest. So yeah, it'll get there. So it's rattle can spraying. I need new rubbers on the roof. Those are heavily perished. There's a bit of rust around the edge of this back window. So there's a little bit of edge repair to be done. I want to get the doors off and clean all the channels with a Dremel. And then I'll see if I can glue that seal back into the door. But it needs 4 tyres, bushes, possibly shock absorbers. If I'm going to do everything else, I might as well do it all at the same time. So, you know, a fair bit, which is probably going to take me 18 months to 2 years to afford. So I'm just going to work on this rattle can spraying and maybe the blower unit whilst it's off the road. And then I'll see if I can get it into an MOT maybe the start of next year. So yeah, this is Van Halen T25. He's on Instagram. It's part of the family. Somebody came and asked me if I wanted to sell it. And I was like, no, it's part of the family. You know, it's my retirement. This is my retirement project. And once it's had some electrics, maybe a diesel heater, and maybe with the temperatures as they are, maybe some kind of air conditioning unit, I'm going to be heading off to Spain and Portugal because I like my trips and I haven't done any for a while. So yeah, this is the van, and I will post once a month maybe. Anyway, irregularly. Thanks for listening.